What can I say? Anime needs a Deadpool from time to time. There's nothing better than seeing our main character rise from the ashes and come back overpowered. But that's not all. The tragedies of his past have left him with a rather cynical look on the world, and with his heroic tropes abandoned, he turns to an anti-hero who doesn't hesitate to shed blood if needed. Welcome to AniTube, guys, and today I'm talking about 10 anime where the main character returns both overpowered and as an anti-hero. As usual, I plan on bringing more videos in the future, so don't forget to stay tuned by hitting the subscribe button along with the bell notification icon. Without further wait, let's get to the list. Number 10, Guilty Crown. It's part mecha, part magic, part romance, and is a mixture of everything anime could pull off. This might be the reason for its rather disoriented ending with mixed reception. But one thing that got me hooked was the main character's change after the middle of the season. It tells the story of Shu Ouma, who encounters a wounded girl named Inori Yuzuriha and gets involved with a terrorist organization in a post-apocalyptic world. Before meeting Inori, Shu had another friend named Hare Menju, and Hare loved Shu ever since they were kids. Her death drove him mad with rage, and along came the anti-hero personality of Shu, a cold-hearted and ruthless leader that even abandoned his friends. It's like Shinji Ikari suddenly transforming into Light Yagami. Number 9, Charlotte. Charlotte may start off as a story of an overpowered student, but a few episodes in, it turns to a tragic story of a failed main character that turns to an anti-hero. The anime starts off with Yu Otosaka, a boy who has the ability to possess another person for a few seconds. He uses this for his advantage, and mostly minds his own business. But things change when he is recruited by the president of the Hoshinumi Academy. That was the point where he turned to a hero. But with the death of his sister, his attitude completely shifted as he turned to an anti-hero, chasing after his own ideals. Then you add to that his overpowered quirk, and he turned to be one of the most dangerous ability users in the world. Number 8, Akame Ga Kill. Welcome to the Game of Thrones of anime, where every character's fate is tragic, and the chances of survival in the world is even lower than that of Attack on Titan. Akame Ga Kill never has a problem killing off its main cast, but at the same time, it doesn't forget to show the repercussions of these deaths on the remaining members. One such person who gets affected by these deaths is Tatsumi. In the beginning, he came to the city to find his two friends, but seeing their deaths, he didn't hesitate twice to murder their killer. That's the place where he went from a heroic adventurer to an anti-heroic outlaw. But with the death of his friend Bulat, he gained the power of Incursion, which gave a drastic change to his power levels. Number 7, Rising of the Shield Hero. Something's rising, and this time, it's the Shield Hero. If you want the perfect isekai revenge comeback story, then Rising of the Shield Hero is the best show for you. The anime pulled off a huge plot twist in the first episode by showing the friendly-faced characters were actually hidden Machiavellians, but with the betrayal also came the sheer anger of our main hero for being abandoned. It didn't take long for his cheerful attitude to turn a complete 180. The hero you see from the second episode is a cold-hearted anti-hero that was forged entirely by abandonment and betrayal. Now, Fumi rarely shows compassion, and if it drives him mad, he doesn't hesitate to draw blood from his opponents, no matter who they are. Number 6, Elfen Lied. Elfen Lied happens in a world with both humans and a clone species. The latter is similar to humans, but has horns and the ability to use vectors. One of these dicloni is Lucy. Things weren't the best for Lucy back in her childhood. Not only was she experimented on as a diclone, but she was also forced to view all the evil humanity had within it. She committed her first murder when her dog was killed, and then proceeded to massacre a full lab of soldiers on her escape. The events that triggered her managed to give her a cynical view on humanity, and she developed a completely new anti-heroic and villainous personality that detested the human species. She isn't a pretty sight for soldiers, and her evil personality doesn't hesitate to kill anyone who raises a gun at her. Number 5. Vinland Saga. Nothing matches a good revenge story than Vikings. If you have read their stories, you know they weren't the best company to hang out with. They pillaged villages, murdered innocents, and pulled off schemes to get power. One of the victims of these actions is Thorfinn's father. He was a Viking himself, but due to the schemes of the cunning Askeladd, he met his death while trying to protect the rest of his crew. This drove Thorfinn mad. And it didn't take long for the boy to turn into a mindless killer working under the man who murdered his father. His only goal was to get strong and kill Askeladd to fulfill his revenge, and the story shows how hatred can corrupt any man until he turns into a monster. Number 4. Saga of Tanya the Evil. What happens if you're betrayed and abandoned in a completely different world by God? This is what happened to Tanya. She was initially a salaryman with a regular Japanese job, till he was reincarnated in another world as a girl named Tanya. The world is now ravaged by war, and Tanya grows up in a brutal world, while bearing a grudge to murder this mysterious entity calling himself God. She enrolls in the military and participates in the war, and in the battlefield, this little girl turns into a skilled mass-murdering psychopath. She doesn't hesitate to use brutal attacks on her enemies or to kill off anyone who opposes her. In short, the anime is about a little girl committing mass murder. Number 3. Mirai Nikki. Mirai Nikki is much similar to Guilty Crown and features an innocent protagonist turning to an anti-hero. Mirai Nikki is about a boy named Yukiteru Amano who is forced into a battle royale with 12 other opponents. Each of them gets a diary which has its own power. The one Yuki gets is a future diary, a diary which can predict any event that is happening in the future. Yuki soon befriends a girl named Yuno Gasai, and let's just say she's not the best girlfriend to plan a battle royale with. Yuno's schemes and plots leaves Yuki on the verge of a mental breakdown, and to win the game, Yuki decides to kill off his opponents. With this in mind, his innocence slowly disappears and his strength and resolve turns into a more darker and tragic anti-hero. Number 2. Code Geass. You don't need tons of magic reserves or muscle to become overpowered. Just the brains and the ability to manipulate anyone is enough to make you the emperor of the world. Code Geass is about an abandoned prince named Lelouch de Bretagne. He's the 4th heir to the Empire of Britannia, which is now controlling more than half of the countries in the world. However, with the death of his mother, Lelouch abandons the throne, and as a punishment, he is exiled to Japan along with his sister. There, he joins a rebel group named the Black Knights and rises to challenge his father's empire. Lelouch is cunning, manipulative, and is the very definition of an anti-hero. He focuses on his goals and doesn't think twice about abandoning anyone as long as he gets what he needs. So, if you want a revenge story with mind games, schemes, and plot twists, then Code Geass is the show for you. Number 1. Tokyo Ghoul. Kaneki may not be the strongest character in the first season of Tokyo Ghoul, but the later seasons managed to show how strong he had grown after his torture. Tokyo Ghoul happens in an alternate world, where ghouls live among humans, and survive by feeding on their flesh. The protagonist Kaneki, after an encounter with a ghoul, turns into half a human and half ghoul. Even after his transformation, Kaneki still manages to maintain his human qualities, but at the end of the first season, he is subjected to a brutal torture at the hands of a psychopath named Jason. This makes him cynical, cold-hearted, and it also makes him overpowered as he relies more on his abilities. In short, Kaneki is the perfect main character for a dark fantasy story like Tokyo Ghoul. And with a half ghoul, half human, our list comes to an end. As usual, let me know down below in the comment section about the show you're interested in the most, and don't forget to remind us if we missed anyone. And if you haven't joined our growing community yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button, along with the bell notification icon, to be instantly updated as soon as we bring out more videos. With that said, hope you guys stay safe and stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.